Hey guys, imagine if you have a phone that don't have Google services. Now you will think that why would anyone use a phone without Google services? So a phone without Google services is basically a phone that don't have a Play Store or YouTube or etc. means that phone doesn't have any Google apps. Now you will think that who will use a phone without Google services? Way harder to use a phone without Google services. Means you cannot use YouTube on your phone, you cannot install app through your Play Store. But I guess you are wrong here. There are so many alternative available of the Google services that you can use instead of Google services. So I will show you the list of the apps that you can use in behalf of Google services, which is an AOSP or no app that don't takes data from your phone. So first of all, to use your Android smartphone without Google apps or services, you will require a custom ROM which does not come with Google apps or Google services. So here I am using AOSP extended, but you can use any custom ROM that don't come with G apps or Google services. So I am booting my phone into the recovery. So I am wiping the last ROM that I have. So now it's ROM flashing time. This ROM doesn't have G apps included, so I am flashing the ROM.
1 hour later.
So ROM flashing is successful. Okay Google, bye bye from my phone. Sorry if I triggered your Google Assistant. So yeah. So my phone now doesn't have any G apps. You can also see that while setting up my phone, it will not ask for any Google ID or anything. So ROM started to boot up. ROM booted successfully. So guys, as you can see that my phone doesn't have any Google apps, only the Google Camera Go that I will uninstall. By the way, you can see here I don't have any G apps. If you go into the settings, then there is no Google settings page available. See here I have OnePlus phone which has Google app pre-installed, but in this settings you can't see any Google toggle like this above system. So this phone is now basically the phone without Google apps. So now if you will use this phone, how you will, instead of Play Store, here we will use Aurora Store, which is an AOSP open source Play Store alternative which can help to install apps on your phone and which also does not require any Google sign in or anything. Now to replace YouTube, here we can use Netflix, but I know guys Netflix is not a good alternative of YouTube. So you can use YouTube on a browser without signing in if you care much about your data. To replace YouTube Music, here we can use Spotify instead of YouTube Music. It's way better than YouTube Music. I personally use YouTube Music on primary basis. You guys can use Spotify instead of YouTube Music. To replace Google Dialer and Google Messaging, here we comes with an AOSP dialer and AOSP messaging app, which comes with pre-installed when you install this ROM, which don't have and basically G services or Google services. And to replace Google Maps, here we will use Waze. It's an good alternative of Google Apps. So here you can see it takes your location on accurate basis. So you don't here require to log in, just click here accept and just sign up later. So you can use it without signing in, so no data loss, or you cannot, means there is no chance of taking your data. And to replace Google Pay, here you can use Phone Pay, Paytm, any app you want to. And instead of Google Chrome, here we will use the DuckDuckGo browser, which is also a good alternative of Google Chrome, and it's also safe than Google Chrome. It doesn't take your data, it doesn't ask for unwanted permissions, and It is also stable browser, so you can use it on a daily basis. To replace Gmail, here we will use Outlook Mail, but I know guys it's not easy to use an Outlook Mail. Means if your primary mail is Gmail, then you have to use it, but you can use it. You can also, if you don't have any primary mail or anything like that, then you can use Outlook Mail instead of Gmail. But most of us have Gmail as primary mail, so no alternative of Gmail. And to replace the Google Drive, here we can use Dropbox, which is a good alternative of Google Drive. And to replace Google Docs, here we can use Microsoft Word. It's a good alternative of Google Docs. So Google Docs is basically used to get to instant notes. So here you can also use Microsoft Word. It's also a good alternative. So here it is. These are the most common Google Apps alternative that everyone uses. So see, you cannot replace YouTube or Gmail if you want, but you can replace other Google apps. Like you can replace Dropbox with Drive, you can replace PhonePe with Google Pay, YouTube Music with Spotify, Google Maps with Waze, and Google Docs with Word. So I will use this phone as my primary device for one day, and we'll see what problems I face, and I will also show you that you can use a phone without Google services or not. So let's begin that. So while testing a phone without Google services, I found an issue that Uber is not working without Google Play services. Come on Uber, why you want a Google Play services? So we can't even question Uber. So here it is, a phone without Google Play services. Unless Uber, all thing works fine. Instagram, Facebook, all thing works fine. To fix this issue, I have searched many G apps or micro G, but no one work on Android 12. So here it is. So if you have phone, so I suggest you to try this on any secondary phone, because you will face now anyway any issues nowadays when you try it on a primary basis. This kind of issue like Uber is not working and many apps still don't work. I don't use much apps. I only use this kind of apps on my primary basis. So here it is. So thank you for watching. If you are fine with Uber, then go ahead. It's way good than using Google services and giving all data from your secondary phone. So thank you for watching. Please consider hitting the red subscribe button and